What happens when a truck made of solid steel meets 5 blocks of Jello? Well, that's what we're going to be answering today, as well as a bunch of other weird materials. And this is only made possible by the sponsor, PCBWay. But I promise, it was 100% worth it, because they gave me a budget to print off whatever I wanted for a video, and I went a little over budget. But they let me do it anyway. So I uploaded my public domain 3D printable trenchy truck and had it made in 10 different materials, starting with resin. And look, resin printers are readily available, but I personally don't like all the maintenance and cleanup, as well as all the potentially harmful chemicals associated with resin. So I felt a lot more comfortable with someone else doing the resin handling. Besides, this isn't just any resin. This is perfectly see-through. And here was my reaction to seeing it for the first time. Oh my good lord. I knew it was see-through. I did not know it was this see-through. Hold on, let me just... Are you kidding me? I'm 100% gonna get fingerprints on this, but let's handle this delicately. But look, it's like actually fully solid. I'll have to try this on something. Let's put this on foam. Let's see how this spins. Oh, that's immaculate. I can't begin to... That's just so cool. Okay, one thing I'm really noticing right now is usually there are blemishes. So the PLA model, you can see there's like a print artifact here. But when I look at it on this one, there just isn't any. And look, you can even see the gas cap here, little details for this. As I said, the logo. I mean, this sounds like an obvious statement, but this feels manufactured. Like this feels 3D printed in my home. This looks like some artisan demo prototype thing. It's just something other. I don't know how else to describe that. And the edges, they're not like sharp or pointy. They feel like proper and quality controlled and such. So often when you get resin prints, they won't be perfectly see-through, even if they're a see-through resin. You have to apply a coating over the top to actually make it see-through. And oh, actually, maybe that's what's making this so diffused, is maybe you can't get the coating on the inside of these wheels. That might be it. This is a really cool first model. This is really set the bar. It just feels so solid. So I think it's appropriate that we also weight these things. 20 grams. Whereas this, 47. Okay, that's why it feels so proper. It's so hefty. I love how you can see these features through each other. So you can see the little door handle for the back flap there. You can see the door handles through the other side of the door. This is so novel. I'm used to layer lines. This is so smooth. I hope this is really coming across here. Like if I put the logo through this, can we... It's very see-through. I don't know how else to describe that. There's no word that's been invented yet, but whatever that word is, it is that word. And keep in mind, resin is a completely different process than FDM printing. With FDM, we use a nozzle, like your conventional printer, but with something like this, you can get a very fine and solid-filled, weighted kind of model. Usually they're a little more delicate, but this actually might be the first ever resin trenchy, and I'm happy with it. I didn't think it would come out so well, especially since resin is known for being kind of sticky, and I thought maybe the wheel bearings would kind of stick together, but these actually move like decent compared to this. That's pretty good. Okay, and the next one on this list was actually nylon. And I have heard that nylon can be particularly hard to 3D print without like a heated chamber. But interestingly enough, this nylon is not printed with FDM. It's printed with selective laser sintering. And you can kind of tell if you feel it. So I don't know if I can get the light to catch. Oh, you can actually see it. Yeah, it's kind of like this rough, coarse material you can see there. So if you've ever printed with a textured FDM bed, kind of like this right here, how it's got that sort of textured feel to it, this is what this feels like, but kind of all over. And the wheels do spin. Let me get this on a good surface. The wheels do spin, don't get me wrong. It's like stone grinding on stone, which is kind of what I would expect from SLS. And there's also just a lack of artifacts that are typical of your normal 3D printer. Like you'll see the gas cap here, it kind of looks a little bit more wide and bloated than usual, but you can see the inset and the detail a lot easier. And if you, again, compare this bridging test that you can see on the trenchy, because it's printed on its side like this, it gets this bridging test for free. There's just no artifacts from the bridging test because it's just printed in a completely different way, which is fascinating. This is kind of hefty. Actually, let me weigh this one. And keep in mind, this is solid nylon, not just half infill. So it's about 40 grams, I would say. And yeah, that is really intriguing. Oh, I forgot the flag hole. I haven't tested that on the nylon. Okay, I almost forgot about the flag, so I think that's what this is for. I get 2? So if you're unfamiliar with the Trenchy, it prints something like this, and then it has an accompanying flag that just sits next to it like that. It's 2 tests in one. So if you just want to test basic measurements, you can just print off the flag. But if you want to test all of the artifacts of your printer, you can print all 2. And the cool thing is there's a little hole that you can stick your flag in. Let's see if this one works. I don't know if you can see that. That's going halfway in, and it's really quite rigid. Now let me try this with a plastic one. I don't know why this feels like the most premium. I know it's just a little flag. It's tiny, but it feels so premium and nice. But let's get the sword one. I think that's a good appropriate occasion for this. Let's see if we can squeeze that in. It's a little bit of a wide tolerance for the sword. Let's see if I can get another one in. I'm not sure if this one's gonna fit. I think okay, it can just. It barely fits in. It just sticks in. I think the resin one is really appropriate for this because it can actually get in and it's nice and slidey. But yeah, how interesting is that? I almost forgot about the flags. That's a completely new test we have to run as well. Okay, and in search of flags, I thought they didn't include them, but they're white, so it's kind of hard to see in the packaging. Let's see if they fit. Oh, that's the easiest fit I've ever had. This hole that is the most generous hole I've ever been given for this model. Look at that. That is the easiest fit ever. Will it work with the plastic? Let's try this one. Easy, boom. Nicest fit ever. Let's try with the resin. Boom. This is the most generous flag hole I've been given. Now it does fall out at the top, but if you want your flag hole to fit, print in a solid SLS nylon, I guess. Now, I'm not totally sure which box is next, but I think these flags have something to do with it. So we'll go color by color and we'll figure out which is which. Now, starting off with red, which is what I'm used to printing in, as you can see here. But what's interesting about this is it got printed the other way. And what that means is this flag was probably printed on its own. As you can tell from the texturing on this side, it was printed this way down. Whereas usually I have it this way down, where the flag is touching the bed and the other side is in the air. But it's actually different on this model. And I mean, I can't blame them. I didn't specify. But you can see I got to torture test the PCBWay printers. And let's have a look. Okay, I think they did a better job. Also, an interesting thing is this is done at, I think, 100% infill for this. And you can kind of feel the difference. It's quite weighty. And I will say they have far less layer lines. I want to know what their gear is. But yeah, I'll just give a side-by-side comparison. There's not too much difference. I wasn't expecting much difference. And the flag printed just fine too. Now these next two materials I bring forth at the same time. This one being ASA and this one being ABS. And I found out that the main difference between these two, because there really isn't much, is that ASA is supposed to be more UV resistant and this one just isn't. And that's largely the difference. This one can withstand a lot of sunlight exposure, whereas this one is not so designed for that. And I noticed something interesting while touching these, which is that this one here, the ABS, is a lot less tacky and sticky almost. It feels like there's kind of like a coating over the top of the ASA, like it's just come out of, I don't know, some kind of process and my hands are getting a little sticky from it. But I think that is just a property of the material. So if you want to print something sun resistant, maybe go with ASA. But if you want something that's a little less tacky and just feels like a regular plastic, you can go with ABS. And yeah, they both printed pretty fine. I think the wheel spin is really nice. But honestly, there's not much different. It's pretty typical when you compare it to something like the PLA model. And yeah, I'm pretty satisfied with it. Although there is something interesting I noticed. You see, we have this typical textured side on the ABS. But when I look at something like the ASA, we don't have that typical texture. And just to prove it, if I flip it over onto this side, you can see that this seems to be the top side, whereas this is the bottom. It looks pretty flat. So there's a slightly different print bed maybe, or a finish that's done to it. Now to take a little break from plastics, I'm gonna turn the little PCB sign around because I actually did a little bit of my own experimentation with TPU. And don't worry, PCBWay do their own TPU, but enough of you downloaded my public domain trend sheet from the Maker World website that I was able to afford a voucher for 1 TPU roll. And when I started to experiment on my own, I got this. Oh boy. And if you're wondering why you would ever print such an abomination, well, it's because it can do this. That's right, it's flexible, it's rubbery. But this isn't just where I stopped, because obviously the wheel spin is just atrocious. This is me actually really trying. If I try to move it on the surface, I can't do a full rotation. So I tried it again in this material, but I turned down the temperature and I got a slightly better result. You can see there's still a little bit of stringing and some imperfection, but I think it's a massive improvement on the previous one. And this one actually does bend a lot better too. And the wheel spin is okay, but it doesn't really roll on its own very much. Oh, it does come with a flag, but as you can imagine, because it's rubbery, oh gosh. Oh, it actually went in. Okay. It looks so dumb, but that is very charming. I can't lie. But what if I try it with another one? Let's try it with a resin flag. Oh, you don't know how satisfying that fit was. There are no two materials you could put together and make it feel like that. Oh, that felt like Lego. That just, ooh. Okay, I take back the nylon, okay? The new best housing is TPU. But I didn't just stop here, because this is not the only TPU one I made. Because I went on to make another one, which I will show you right here. And so if we just pop this off the bed, oh, that did not feel natural. And listen, elephant in the room, yes, there is some tearing, okay? But the interesting thing I did with this one is instead of doing a typical 3D print infill, I just left it almost hollow. I used the lightning infill just to do some basic support, but if I start to break this free, you can see that we might be able to get the wheels to spin a little better. The issue is all of the stringing on the inside of the axle. Oh, look. That's not a bad spin. Can we do the same here? Yes. Minor artifacts, as you can see, that stop some wheel spin. If we put this down on this surface, look how nice that spins. It kind of has a skip in its step from the broken material. But that is so interesting. And also, if we look at the typical print failure area up here, this bridging spot, yeah, that's pretty cooked. That's that's quite crazy. The logo is intact. This arch is just abysmal. But when it comes to deformation, this one should be, oh, that's nice. Okay. This feels like one of those ball pit balls where you feel like you could just break them if you do too much stuff. Like, look at that, bro. Now, with these previous ones, there's a lot of hard areas. Like, I can't really push these tires too hard. Or if I want to press the sides in, I can kind of flex those wheel axles. But with this one, since it's so hollow, I could probably get these two sides of the bed to touch. Yeah, there we go. I'm not sure how much this weighs, though. Let's test that out. Okay, this one comes in at 11 grams. So if we stick in the flag here, this is definitely one of the weirder ones. It's weird. We can turn the sign back around now because we're going to get back to PCBWay because we actually also printed TPU. So if I unbox this right here, you'll find that their TPU is a little bit different from mine. And if I touch the surface, it kind of feels like velvet. Now, if I look at the flag here, you can see that this is bendy. It's got this special surface on it. And if you have a keen eye, you may notice that it's quite a similar surface to this SLS nylon. And that's because this is also SLS, as opposed to FDM, which is what I was using for this. And I'll be honest, I did not really pay attention when it came to the instructions of the material and what it actually did, but it does clearly say on the site that this was SLS. And look at that, that's so silly. I love that. But the thing with SLS is that there is no hollow infill. This is just solid TPU. Like, this is rubbery. But what's interesting is this didn't pass their quality control test, but it was going to take some delays and a little bit of extra work. And I was like, you know what? Just send me the failed one. I want to see it. I really want to see it. And I'll be honest, I don't really know what failed, but maybe I can follow up there. But the funniest part to me is when I went back onto their website, because they said, hey, we can do it with an FDM process instead of the other process. And so I'm like, ah, shucks, I pressed the wrong one. I was supposed to press FDM, but I did the SLS one. But I thought, nah, that's out of the way. That's not the first option. Why would I have picked that? And I was actually looking at a video of somebody else printing with TPU through PCBWay, and there was no FDM option there. And then just to verify that, I went back onto the site. It said TPU now, which is making me think that I forced PCBWay to add the option to the website because my model doesn't work. Which, if that is true, that is hilarious. I just think that's really funny. So yeah, I'll try and confirm that and show that on screen if I can confirm it or not. But if that doesn't make this truck some kind of torture test, I don't know what does. But with our TPU escapades out of the way, we're back to more plastic. This next one being polycarbonate. Can I see through that? I swear I can see through that. Hold on. That is see-through. Now, does the same go for the car? No. Let's put these together. Oh, there we go. And something that has absolutely struck me when feeling this side here is that it's so perfectly flat. I don't know what they printed this on. This seems to be the flat side they printed this on, but this is so ridiculously flat. Like usually there'd be some kind of texture, and it's almost got this like metallic finish here. Now this was printed with 40% infill, so it's a little bit chunkier than some of the other models. And I think it would look a little bit different also if I did it with 20% infill maybe. And perhaps you could see the light sort of coming through it. But kind of similar to the ASA over here, it has this filmy coat to it because I can't really feel the layer lines. I can sort of feel them if I run my nail across them, but they're not as defined as you would usually get on your home 3D printer. Now it is definitely noticeable when you get to an incline like this. Yeah, I can start to feel the ridges, but it's a really smooth finish for some reason. And what's interesting about this actually with playing with it more is the plastic feels kind of snappy and rigid. It feels like I could really break this before I bend it, whereas some of the other ones, it feels like it will just bend and bend until it snaps. What a peculiar material. And now the last of my plastics, I have PETG, and this is known for being quite a tough material. So it's a little bit more expensive sometimes, and it's reserved for higher durability. And by the way, this one, and this one were printed at 40% infill, and this one is at 20. I don't know why, I just, there's no reason, I just forgot to put this one as 40. This one's 100, remember? But this one feels quite similar in weight. So I'm guessing the PETG is maybe just a little heavier as a plastic overall. Let me actually give them a little weighing. ABS is 22, ASA is 23, polycarbonate is 25, and PETG is 29. And remember, this is 20% infill, so there is a pretty big weight discrepancy between the two. I wish I did this at 40 just to really test the limits. Oh, and their TPU, what would that come in at? 45. That's interesting. But spoiler, these are not even the heaviest yet, okay? I think you can guess what's heavier. Now, putting these examples to the side, we're gonna try something a little different for the next one. And look how Area 51 this thing is wrapped. Looks like I got this thing off the dark web. And if you wanted to guess what this one is, it's not stainless steel, but it's something close. This is aluminum. Whoa, okay. What the heck? Oh, and here's the flag. Okay. Wow. This is cold. This is very cold. Hold on. Wow, just... Hold on, let me play this next to the mic. You can hear that, right? And look how precise that is. Let me just give it a spin around. Now, what's interesting is you may notice it's got a very smooth layer. It's not like this SLS stuff here. It's SLM, which is selective laser melting. Laser melting. But, oh my god, there is no layer lines. I'm feeling this right now. There is no layer lines. This is just so smooth. I mean, it makes sense, right? The only kind of artifact is this sort of texture, but you can't really feel it. You can see it, but you can't really feel it. Now, I will say this probably isn't gonna, oh, actually it kind of spins okay. Let's put this on the foam. Oh, can you hear that? It sounds like stones grinding together. This is, this is so heavy. Now, I know this is gonna cause some friction here, and maybe you can see the friction that's happening there. Oh, but we can get this to spin a little better with a bit of force. Oh, that is the cleanest I've ever seen this logo. The gas cap, oh, wow. And again, no artifacts in the places we test them. Let's get the flag in there. Yo, it might actually be too big, hold on. I swear that's too big for the hole. Let's try this. Oh, I don't know. I genuinely think that is too wide for the hole. I don't think that fits. Let's try a plastic one. Let's get the Among Us flag. Will that fit in? I'm trying to figure out if the hole is too small or the flag is too thick. Yeah, I think the hole is too small. The thing is, it looks so perfect. I've never seen such a clean hole. Let's try with like TPU or something. Hold on, I can do this. I need scissors. I am not giving up here. Corner off. Okay, now with a sharp spike, can we get that in? There we go. Okay, it only took the better half of 5 minutes, but we got the flag in. That is so peculiar. This feels like a forbidden object. This is like an alien recreation of one of my models. This is just, I don't know how to communicate how surreal this is. It really just feels like someone filled up like concrete into a cast of this, but it's aluminum. That is so surreal. I'm gonna weigh this thing. And so this weighs in at 105 grams. No wonder. I'm just in awe at the precision of this, minus the flag hole. But just look at these details. They're so crisp. There's no layer lines. I am astounded. Oh, and if you were wondering, it's not magnetic, so I can't stick a trailer on this thing. But I do have some bike lube. And I'll be honest, I don't know if that's gonna help. I genuinely have no idea. But it does feel a little more slick already. Okay, that definitely is moving better. Tell me if you know a better way to like lubricate aluminum wheels or something. If we stick that on here, oh, no way. That is weirdly slick. That is so satisfying. Yeah, I'm just blown away by this one. Oh, also the flag. Like, all of these are so flimsy. The plastic one, it's got a bit of bend to it, right? But the aluminum, okay. That's all the strength I could conjure from that. That does not feel like it's gonna snap. That feels like it's gonna bend around. I might want to put that back in place. I mean, it doesn't work anyway, so I don't know what it is about this. It's just, wow, that feels official. But like I said, before we get to the final reckoning, the final test for which material survives the will it trenchy test, we're gonna open up the stainless steel trenchy. This is so heavy. Oh, this is so heavy. This is effort to pick up, I swear. And it comes in our little Area 51 bag. Okay, here's the flag. I swear, this is a real workout. I'm not even kidding. It is heavy. Whoa. Oh. This is, I don't know how to express how genuinely taxing this is to lift up. Okay, let's just weigh this thing first. Let's get that out of the road. So I want to say the aluminum was what, 105? 108, okay. And this one is 315 grams, okay. Oh my God, jeez. And if we put the flag down, okay, it's 1 gram, okay. Well, that's good to know. I have faith. Can we grind this thing away? Yes, okay, it works. It does work. There's a very different finish to the surface. So this is the stainless steel, this is the aluminum. And I'm getting such a workout from this. But you can see more, I think these are layer details. Like you can see in the window, because this would be probably printed like this, there's a lot more layering. Yeah, I can see like layer steppage on this one. I don't even know what the cost per gram is on this, but it's probably at least 50 cents per gram. I think it's a little bit more than this, but that is so monumental. It feels too heavy for its size. Like, keep in mind, this is what, 34 millimeters from this side to this side. And this is weightless. This is nothing. Whereas this, oh, like if I drop this on my foot, this is gonna hurt. If I drop this on my foot, owie, like that's gonna hurt for the day. This is gonna hurt for a month. Now, of course, we have to try the wheel spin. So, vanilla, okay, it's got something, but it's not great. Now, if we try that with a bike lube, Let's give these both a little spin. Ooh, that's already better. Let's try it on our little surface. Oh, so smooth, buttery smooth. I love that. That spins better than TPU, and this weighs 400 times more. This is just so foreign to think that this is 3D printed. I mean, it's a different type of 3D print, I understand, but you can really tell it's solid. Like, but yeah, here's our favorites right here. We've got the see-through resin. This might be my favorite. I just think this is so fantastic. Look at this thing. It's so wonderful. Look, you can see the logo through the top. This is like the nice balance. Like, this is just horrifically heavy. I really wish I could communicate how heavy this is. Actually, if you want to know, you can. It is a public domain model. So if you really want to, fork out the cash for printing stainless steel, go for it. Go to PCBWay and tell them I sent you and print out one of these so you can really feel it for yourself. But if there really was one you were going to test out with PCBWay, I would try this one. This one's fantastic. I think this is such an incredible artifact. Just look, I'm in love with this. And can I tell you something crazy? This wasn't even the most expensive option to print because PCBWay offers a titanium, that's right, titanium 3D print option. Now, that was a little bit out of the budget, okay? We went over budget, but not that over budget. So listen, here's the deal. If we get, I don't know, like 1,000 likes on this video, maybe I'll bargain it with them for a part 2 and do some other crazy materials. But yeah, this is what I could do for this video. So if you really want to see the titanium one, leave a comment, leave a like, share it around, okay? Make sure that this gets seen.
But without further ado, let's see the stainless steel Trenchy versus Jello. Now, I don't know about you, but I was expecting a little more destruction. But luckily, I had this breakaway glass I stole from my old job. So I made this flexible TPU fixture to hold it in place. It turned out that TPU was literally folding under pressure, so I decided to make it out of PLA. Damn it. So I made something a little more stable. Ouch. And no matter how many times I tried, all I could do was break the frame. But we'll come back to the breakable glass at the end, because in the meantime, I created this lattice structure, but it was too strong for the truck. So I made a much more delicate version, which was too loose. And then I made it too rigid. So to find the sweet spot, I stitched 2 of them together and then ran the test. Now, I will admit that the outcomes of this were only minorly amusing, but nothing beats just crushing this stuff with your hands. But back to the glass. You're supposed to break this stuff with your fingers, so I thought maybe just adding this frame around the edges will give it enough focus to crack in the middle. And there we go. That's what I was looking for. And I gotta say guys, thanks to PCBWay for setting this up for me. I know a lot of you watching don't have a 3D printer of your own, and you've asked me if there's a way you can buy my Trenchy model to have for yourself. Well, I think that PCBWay has you covered. Being a free and publicly available model, I give you guys full permission to upload and have them print off the Trenchy in any weird and wonderful material you guys want. My favorite is probably the transparent resin Trenchy. I've linked that project down below. And if you want to see a part 2, show this video some love. I've been CJ. Bye.